Hey guys, it's Athena. Welcome back to my channel. I just kind of wanted to have a sit down, kind of like just a chit chat, like talk through kind of therapy video. And I just wanted to talk about like where I'm at in life and how I'm feeling. And I use my YouTube channel kind of like as my digital diary, encapsulating like I guess how I feel at this point in my life and the different stages of my life. I'd like to be able to record and just have something to reflect back on. If I make it through this journey and I come out on the other side, or reach a better point in my life, I feel like I would like to have had the struggles documented, so I can always remember like where I came from or look back and have evidence and proof to show like what I've overcome, or the states that I've been in, just because maybe um, telling your truth and letting how you feel out is a really powerful thing, especially for other people to hear. It makes them feel less alone. And I just feel like for my entire life, I have been in a state of very deep, dark depression. And I wasn't aware of it as much as a child or growing up. But I think that this depression really started to sink in once I was about maybe 13 years old, and I was able to sort of start looking at the world on a deeper perspective and seeing how things worked, or like the inequalities in our world and in life, and like the human experience. And I'm going to turn the fan on really quick. So at that time, when I was 13, I really was starting to see how unfair the world was, and sort of like one of my biggest aspects to like I think my suffering is how I view like genetics, and specifically how genetics can determine a lot of factors in your life once you're here in the world as a person. Um, what you look like is such a or what your body is composed like, what each element of what your physical self, your mental self, what you're born with. I mean, you can be born with schizophrenia, or you can be born with a sound mind that can operate through life. You can be born with, basically any array of difficulties, dysfunctions, things that disabilities, and some babies are born and then by the time they're 5 they have leukemia and they're going to die, and then they don't get to live their life. And then we have other people who live to be like 110 plus, and lived their life, or we have people who are born in the wrong body, and then they have to go through this extremely painful life experience and be shamed by like the world, by themselves, by society. People who are just subjected to like all different types of things that aren't your choice. Like, we don't choose what we look like. We don't choose what ethnicity. I don't think that we choose our lives before we're here, or say like this is the life I'm gonna live. I think that it's all random, and we don't have any say. And then we only get a say once we're in the world. But at that point, um, a lot of societal constructs, time period things, what class you're in, the money, all of those things have already set up a certain path for you. And people say like, well, everyone has the equality to have a successful and happy life, and that just isn't true. In my truth, that isn't true. Why is it that some babies are born into wealthy suburban households, and other babies are born in like the slums, and they don't get to have their parents. They live in a unclean environment. They don't get to have the same access to education, to love, to freedom, to the life experience. And then the babies that are born into the suburban lifestyle get to go search for colleges, and they get to have a completely different experience of life. And, um, you know, and happiness and success are subjective. I'm not saying that just because if you're born into a suburban lifestyle and you go to college that that's the pinnacle of life. Perhaps the children that are in the slums have a different type of freedom and a different type of happiness, and maybe they're happier and more free than we are in Western America. And that's something too, like, you know, sociology, the statistics show us that in industrialized countries, the suicide rates are the highest, and unhappiness and depression and feelings of like being unfulfilled are the highest in industrialized nations. And living in a capitalist society, of course, I love having access to 50 different types of hand soaps and 30 different cereal variations and all of these different goods and material wealth. And I'm definitely, I'm not a materialistic person in that I like luxury cars or luxury jewelry, but I like Barbies, I like dolls, I like the LOL surprises, I like fashion and shoes, and I am a materialistic person, just not in the stereotypical sense where people like I wouldn't ever spend my money on like a Chanel bag or a Louis Vuitton bag, but I'd buy $1,000 worth of Barbies and accessories or stuff like that. So it's all subjective and relative, but I would consider myself a capitalist, materialist product of our society. Things make me happy. I get a feeling of dopamine. I get a feeling of release, and it feels good to have like collections of things. I sleep with my things. Like I'll hold them against my chest to feel comforted. Specifically my Barbies and my dolls. I feel so connected and so at peace with them that I hold them when I go to sleep, because I don't want to. Even I feel sad when I have to go to sleep that I can't think about them, see them, be comforted by them, etc. So I just hold them against me. And I don't know. I mean, I've reached 21 years of age, and I think that that's a really big accomplishment. I think that if you are able to just survive in life and be here as a person, I think you've done an amazing job. And I feel like sometimes it's just really hard because I don't, I just am like, is this life worth living for? Like, is this world, do I want to live in this world, and do I want to be a part of this world and how our world operates, and society and people and all the things that we're taught or that are normal to us. Like, I think everything is a spectrum, but unfortunately we're taught in our society that everything is a binary, and your personality traits are binary, and your life experience is binary. And I just, of course you can create the life that you want, but even that is dictated by your money, your personality, your genetic construct, the different, psychological things that you were born as, what time period you're born into, I mean, just everything, what gender you are. Like, if we really analyze and look at things, the way that you were born really dictates a lot of your life. And for myself, I have looked at genetics and I've said, screw you, you got it all wrong, I know the truth, I know what's right, and I'm going to do something about it, and I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix what genetics gave me, and make myself who I want to be, who I feel I am. But even though it's the most freeing and best feeling to live your life as the person that you are, the cost and the mental strength and the world around you is so persecuting and so difficult to sort of navigate through, that you just question, like, why did this happen in the first place? how am I expected to handle this? How am I expected to be a sane person functioning? I mean, I see myself, and I could imagine myself in a padded room for the rest of my life because I just can't handle the trauma I've been through, or not being able to handle the way that life is, um, and even the circle of life, being a mortal creature, knowing that one day I'm not going to be here anymore. All of those things are really heavy, and I've tried to do research into how to what to do if you're terrified of death. And something that did strike me is that a lot of times we project a negative feeling towards death, when really death is like neutral. It's not positive or negative. It's not out to hurt you or out to get you. And I thought that that was interesting. Like, it's not, death is not going to hurt you or mistreat you. It is just something that is going to happen at some point. And I don't think that makes me any less terrified of it, but it does help to know that it's not out to get me, and it's not like it wants me to suffer or something, because it doesn't. And I live my life as an atheist, but I don't even know if I should say atheist. I don't know. I mean, isn't it like agnostic, where like you can believe in like a higher power, but you're not like religious and stuff? I don't really know. I mean, I don't believe. I think anything's possible. I'll put it that way. Like, could there be a God? Yes. Could there be gods or a higher power? Yes. But from everything that I've pulled and collected together, I don't believe in I just don't believe in God. Or a higher power. I just really, but I am open to the idea that that could be true. But I don't know if it's because I don't want it to be true, but I don't really believe, religions get it right. I think that the dogma and the oppression of religion and all of those types of things, I think that if there was a God, he would not, I don't know why he would let us suffer so much in life, and I don't know why he would ever let one of us go to hell or something for being ourselves or doing what is right for us, or living our truth. I don't know why a creator would purposefully allow for people to be born a certain way and then condemn them to burn forever in hell. Like, I just don't think that's real. I don't think that's true. It could be, hell could be very real. Who knows? I don't think that you can see it. Obviously, it's not at like the center of the earth or something. Maybe it's a total spiritual place. I don't know. Like I said, anything is possible. For life itself to exist. I can't rule out anything, but my first layer of truth says that there is no heaven and there is no hell. And there is no afterlife, even though I wish there was. I wish there was an afterlife. I don't wish there was a hell. But, of course, I think a mortal person never wants the story to end, or they never want to feel like they're not going to exist and be conscious and aware and stuff like that, because I think that it really terrifies our brains, and it makes us feel very, very, very afraid and uncomfortable. And it's something our brains have a really hard time wrapping its head around. But, it's really interesting because I don't want to die, but I don't necessarily want to live life like this anymore. I feel like I have a lot of life left to live. I feel like there are days that I wake up and I'm very grateful for life, and I feel grateful to breathe and to taste food and to experience life and to pet my cats and the little things, and drink water, or have a Diet Coke, or just the feeling of being alive is a good, precious feeling at times, and there is a real beauty, and I'm so grateful to have experienced life. But there also is this aspect of like you know, what's the point? And like, the point is that they're, I don't know. And I have to be careful with what I say because I don't want to come across as like a nihilist. I think that the nihilist perspective is quite dangerous, at least for myself, because nihilism beliefs are that, nothing there's no point in anything, and there really is no meaning to anything, and that's just kind of the end all be all. And some people feel like that sets them free. But for me, I think that that is the worst thing, and I think that we can make meaning. Um, and if there isn't a meaning, then we should make a meaning out of life, and we should make it worthwhile and make for the next generation or for the next people, make a difference and try and carve out another path of understanding of this human experience and what life is, and try and make it easier or help make them not feel alone and things like that. So I don't think that life is necessarily meaningless. I just feel like, for me as an individual on a singular, a micro scale, if I'm going to be here and then one day I'm not going to remember that I was here, what's the point? So that makes it kind of complicated and difficult. Another thing that I wanted to touch on was the idea of partnership and romance in our lives that we live as humans. Human beings are social creatures, and we are designed that way instinctually and through evolution. And social connection and social interaction is one of the building blocks of living a functional and sane life. It's something like water and food. We need to have social interaction, or if we don't, our mind will start playing tricks on us and making social interactions, like people talking to themselves. That's actually a very normal thing for someone who's not having those social interactions. So anyways, the ideas that we're taught about, like, a man and a woman coming together, or a man and a man coming together, a woman and a woman, or just finding a partnership in this world that is heavily prescribed to us through media, religious texts, books, movies, music, TV, just so, nature even, all of these things like that. We're here to, reproduce, find a mate, and or just find love, or that concept of love, and in the romantic sense, and all these things. And like, I just feel so traumatized by that, because I'm like, I see these people who say that they have it, and it's like, why did they get to experience that? How is that fair? That only some people get to experience this type of love, and then other people don't. I don't know how that really makes sense, or how it could be allowed to be that way. And I guess they say anger is a secondary emotion, and first comes another emotion that you feel. But I mean, I just feel like really hurt by the fact that there are people that spend their whole lives alone and never get to have fulfilling experiences with love or their sexuality or partnership, intimacy. And then other people say, like, I found my soulmate, this person is like my ride or die, I wouldn't be able to live without them, we're getting married, we just got engaged, we're completely made for each other, and like, I'm happy for those people, but I am like angry, and I'm like, well, why not me, and why not other people? Like, I know people that have mental disabilities, or why is it that there are people that will spend their whole life in the mental hospital and never get to just live freely? Or why is it that we have conditions where people can't move their body because they're constrained by a physical condition, but other people could travel the world if they wanted to? Those types of things I just don't understand, and I don't ever feel like my heart will be able to rest on, like, about those things. I always just feel like I could just cry for the world and cry for all the people who are oppressed by some type of condition. Um, and, I mean, it's a really complicated situation, and it's really multi-layered and complex. Um, but, I just want to put it out there that I'm someone that really, I just have this deep, dark hopelessness in my heart and in my being. And I mean, maybe it's not hopelessness, but like, I have hope. I do. I think I'll always have a glimmer of hope in my heart and soul, but I just feel this really deep, dark weight that just is like cemented, and your body is just like filled with this like black liquid, and you're just sitting in it, and like you just feel like it sucks every ounce of life out of you, and like you just don't even know how to move. Like you're just like petrified in this like deep pool of like blackness, and just, and that's it. And um, I can fake it and be like, oh my god, I'm so happy, like, I'm so grateful to be alive, and I'm so grateful for the sunny day, and life is so beautiful. But then on the reality, I'm just like, so, I mean, everyone says fake it till you make it, and I've tried. I've really tried. I feel like I am trying. I'm trying to do everything that's asked of me, but I just feel like life is really unforgiving, and I just feel like I always seek protection from someone and love, and like I want a boyfriend and a father figure, or my boyfriend to be like a father, or be able to find. I mean, maybe you don't, because then that can lead to like certain types of abuse. Like if I could find someone who could be like a father figure for me, but then also find a boyfriend that understands that I need like protection, and that I'm a sensitive person, and that, will hold me at night, or will understand me as a person, or know that I'm nervous when I'm alone, and, I feel jaded and hurt by the world, like persecuted by society and just life and genetics, and someone who really gets that, and like, will be like your knight in shining armor. And I would want to do that for someone as well. I would want to be their safe place, their rock, give them, unconditional love, um, and be able to console them, and that type of thing as well. um, I just feel like I'm someone that's, I don't know, I I would really love to find that person that, we see people come together like in the movies, and like I feel like I have seen real life examples of people who have found like their soulmate and stuff, and I just would really, or find someone that they really love and are with, or whatever it is, or even just have really great friends too, like all that kind of stuff. I just think are really vital for the human survival, and for myself specifically, because people always say like, oh well, you need to be happy with yourself, and how is someone going to love you if you don't love yourself, and you need to just be happy by yourself, and like love will come, and you need to focus on school and focus on yourself. And like, I mean, I am, and I'm doing that, and I'm not happy, and like I'm lonely, and I keep putting myself out there, and I keep having these like negative experiences with men, and like even just like female sexuality. I just feel so disappointed with, like, I feel really envious of men and their ability to like orgasm so easily, or even from like a physical standpoint. I think that having a penis is better than a vagina, because it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just that I can speak for myself and say that, like, the sex that I've had, the heterosexual sex, has just been so And there's some times where it's good, and like, yes, you enjoy it to a certain level, but like other times it's just like you're laying there and it hurts and it doesn't really feel like anything, and it just feels like someone else gets to just enjoy the experience, and it's like totally one-sided, and like you're just sore and uncomfortable, and like they just get to go to like, they just get to keep doing the same action over and over, and then they have an orgasm and they're like, oh, how was that for you? Like, or you're not relaxed at all. Like, they don't take into account your body, and like, you know, it's like my dream guy would just spend time getting to know me and wouldn't rush things, and like wouldn't. I mean, of course we have sexual impulses as people. Of course I do. I have a sexual appetite just as any other person, which is totally natural and normal. But like if I could find someone who maybe would just wait, and like we could build up like a trust and an attraction and everything, and then if I could have this man like make me feel like safe, and like I'm not gonna, like he's not gonna, just focus on himself, or that he'll take care of my body and like let me relax, because I'm really uncomfortable and nervous and shy because sex hurts, and it isn't this like amazing sexy experience. um, so to get someone who can try and work with that and like be there with you and like not be frustrated with you about that, that would be really wonderful. I don't know, and like, I mean, it's just really hard because I just don't think men understand like the burden of womanhood, or like the sexual aspects to being a woman are very hard. Um, and like, I don't know, as a person, I'm okay. Like, I am more of a, demure, submissive type of woman, and I like for the man to be like dominant, but, dominant to a certain perspective that isn't like abusive or controlling, or any of the negative things. I'm just more of like I just am a very feminine person. Like, and of course there are aspects of me that are very masculine. I mean, I could definitely see myself, in a fantasy world, wishing that I could be the dominant person, or I could, be like a guy and, um, you know, use the sexuality to my advantage and be able to just have a good time, and like it not be a problem to have an orgasm or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. I cry about it a lot, and like life in general, and like that feeling of being like in the dark water, and just filling your body, and you just feel like you can't escape it. Thank you for listening. If you've listened and watched this video, I really appreciate it. And here's to a better tomorrow. And I love you, and thank you for watching.